How's it going, guys? Shape here, and welcome to the channel. This video is going to go over the best farming routes for all the new herbs in Shadowlands. All of these herbs are currently selling insanely fast as players are buying them for their professions. The new Dark Moon decks are selling for over 250,000 gold on my server right now, so even in just buying expensive herbs outright, players are still making an insane profit on those. I will give you guys the breakdown of how many herbs per hour I was getting from each route and leave it up to you for gold per hour since it will be server dependent. I would highly recommend that you do these farms on a druid to maximize your efforts. If you don't have a druid, then investing in the Sky Golem might be a good idea. The reason for this is because some of these nodes are going to have mobs around them and they are going to aggro to you. If you have to dismount to pick the herb, then you will either have to kill it or just run away enough to leash it. This could take out valuable time and have a huge impact on how many herbs per hour you can get. Also, in Shadowlands there isn't any restriction on where herbs can spawn based on the landscape. This means an herb isn't locked to only spawning on a riverbank per se, or something like that as we saw in BFA. This makes it very easy to identify which zone is the best for which herb or which one only spawns in that zone. The first route I wanted to cover is going to take us out to Bastion. Rising Glory is the herb we are going to be going after, and Bastion is the only zone that it spawns in. Here's the best route I have found to maximize your herbs per hour. The cliffs here are going to be a little difficult to maneuver around, so I suggest you stick to the route as close as possible. You are also going to come across a lot of Death Blossom and some Nightshade. These herbs spawn in all zones, and it is just a random chance of having that node spawn. Nightshade also spawns in the mall and is the only herb to do that, so it's definitely the rarest herb it seems, so definitely be on the lookout for these. After doing the route in Bastion for an hour, I was averaging 500 to 600 Rising Glories. The item is currently selling for around 70 gold per on my server, so that's 42,000 gold on the high end. During my time farming since the expansion launch, I haven't had too much competition on this route, and I never go too far without seeing a node. This could definitely change as more players get leveled, but right now it is very profitable to do this route. The second route I wanted to go over is going to take us out to Draxus. Marrowroot is the herb we are going to be going after, and Draxus is the only zone that it spawns in. Here's the best route I have found for this. This is one of the worst zones to farm materials in though. The zone is mainly covered by mountains, slime, or massive town hubs that really don't have any spawn points for herbs. With the route I showed you, this will try and keep you away from all of that, but at times it can feel a little slow. For that reason, this herb is selling for over 100 gold per right now, and I suspect that it will stay that way as one of the more expensive herbs due to the difficulty in farming the nodes. You won't be able to get as many Marrowroot as you did Rising Glory because of the difficulty, but you still can get a decent amount per hour. I was averaging 300 to 400 Marrowroot per hour. On my server, that would be around 40,000 gold per hour of your time. Definitely still good gold per hour, but if you're going to be doing this for the highest and easiest golds per hour with your herbs, then this probably wouldn't be the best option unless you are seeing a larger cost tied to this. I am interested to see once players have leveled if the price will go up on these or not, because most of the stock is coming from people just leveling right now. The third route is going to take us to one of my favorite new zones, and that is Arden. The herb you're going to be targeting here is Vigil's Touch. The best thing about this zone in terms of farming is there really isn't a route per se, but definitely some areas to avoid a lot of the elite mobs in this area. Here's the route I have been using, which pretty much just goes around the areas I just mentioned. If you didn't want to do the whole map, then I suggest cutting down the size of that route and sticking to one of the sides because the nodes are spawning fast enough just to keep doing that. I don't really have too much problem of just doing one big lap though, so it's been working for me. You will average between 400 to 500 Vigil touches per hour doing this route. On my server that is going for around 90 gold per at the moment, so that would equal out to 36,000 to 45,000 gold for an hour's worth of your time. This might be my new go-to herb to farm as the price is higher than others and it is really flexible in the route, so even if you don't follow it to a T, you are still going to be just fine as long as you avoid the elite pack areas. Our fourth and final route is going to take us to Rivendrift. Widowbloom is going to be the herb found in Rivendrift. This zone is an interesting one when it comes to farming materials. Like we saw with Draxus, it has a massive amount of terrain which is going to make it difficult to farm anything here until we get flying. If you wanted to use the whole zone for farming, you are going to be consistently going up and down in different levels of the zone with lifts or flight points, so I suggest you stay away from the top portion of the map and just focus on the bottom. Here's the best route I have found for doing that. This route avoids the upper section of the map, which includes Castle Nathria, because it really doesn't have too many herbs located there and there is a lot of mobs there. If you just stay in the bottom section of the map, it is going to be a little better in terms of farming, but still can be challenging at times. As you guys probably already guessed, this is going to be the most expensive herb besides the rare Nightshade node. Widow Bloom is currently going for around 150 gold per on my server. However, you aren't going to be able to get as many per hour as in the other zones I have already covered. I would say you are going to average around 200 to 300 Widow Blooms an hour using this route. That is still really good gold per hour, as on the high end that's 45,000 gold on my server. If your server is any less than that, I would suggest sticking to one of the other zones that are easier to maneuver in. Now I know we have touched briefly on Nightshade and Deathbloom at the beginning of the video, but I wanted to take some time to go over the best places to farm these herbs. All of the other herbs have dedicated zones on where you can farm them, but these two herbs have a chance to spawn in every zone. This means you're going to want to be in a zone where you can get the most nodes an hour for the highest chance to get these herbs to spawn, if that's what you're targeting. The go-to in terms of nodes per hour is going to be Bastion. As we were averaging 500 to 600 Rising Glories there, that didn't include all of the Death Blossoms and Nightshade we received. You could even head over to the Arden Wild as well if you like that better, because you are still going to get a decent amount of either of these herbs there. Since Death Blossom can be farmed in all the zones except for the Maw, it is the most accessible herb, and that means it is the cheapest at this point. It is currently going for 67 gold on my server right now. Because it is a random chance to get the node to spawn, I'm not going to be going into Death Blossoms per hour, because this will vary each and every time you farm the route. As for Nightshade, think of this as what Anchorweed was in BFA. It has a chance to spawn anywhere, even the Maw. It isn't as high of a chance of spawning as Death Blossom is though, and it makes it rare and valuable. I would stick with Bastion or Arden Wild for farming Nightshade, because this is where you're going to get the most golds per hour in these zones. Currently Nightshade is going for 400 gold right now, and based on spawn rates I would see it sticking around here for the time being. You can make some serious gold if you get lucky on these spawns. A little trick I have been doing is to cut the routes I've showed you in half if you were just doing this for Death Blossom and Nightshade. Since the spawn rates are high right now, you can go back over the nodes you just picked from and have another chance of it being either Death Blossoms or Nightshade since you just picked them. No matter which route you choose, there's a great opportunity to make some serious gold with Herbalism right now. If I find any better routes in the future, I will be sure to link the new video around that in the comment section below. As for now, happy launch week and go farm some herbs. Well, there you have it guys, the best routes to use when farming the new Shadowlands herbs. I hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe and drop a like if you enjoyed the video to show some love for the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.